Good morning, everyone. This is Matt Keller speaking. I am Vice President of Sales and Business Development with Eagle Flexible Packaging. And with me, I have Ashley Kosran, who's our Marketing Manager. And we appreciate everybody carving a little bit of time out of their day this morning to talk about flexible packaging and really to give us the opportunity to just introduce some concepts about the selection process for material to support flexible packaging, be it preformed pouches, or printed roll stock that goes through a vertical form, fill and seal, or flow wrap solution, and talk about some of the dynamics that are involved with the material evaluation, material selection process, and aligning all parts of the production process among equipment, packaging, and the brand involved, as well as the consumer. So with that, we appreciate everybody making time this morning. And I'm just going to walk you through a little bit of what we're going to cover today. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of Eagle, tell you a little bit more about who we are and what we do, just so you have some background information. And then we are going to talk a little bit more specifically about packaging itself. Packaging is from an industry standpoint, as well as then flexible packaging, and where that market is headed and why we are continuing to be excited about playing in this space. And then we'll get more into the material specific information that we'll talk about the selection and evaluation process, what are the variables involved, how to make decisions, going through the trial process and what that entails. And a common theme that you will hear through each step of this is the collaboration among the contract packager, the printed film provider, and the ultimate customer, and why it is critical to really take an open book or a full disclosure approach to how we can collectively craft solutions to be able to help our respective customers get product to market. If there are questions, we do have a chat function on the webinar. You are more than welcome to send us a note if you have a question or are looking for additional points of clarification. And then at the end of this, we will open it up to any questions that we don't cover during the course of the talking points. And we look forward to everybody's feedback. We also look forward to seeing everybody at the annual Contract Packagers Association meeting, which will be at the end of February in Las Vegas. And if you have any follow-up questions as a result of our time together this morning, you have my email address as well as Ashley's email address. Please do feel free to reach out to us, and we'd be happy to provide more information or answer any additional questions that we don't get to this morning. To give you a little bit of background about Eagle, we are based in the Chicagoland area. We're based in Batavia, Illinois. We have been supporting the contract packaging business for over 20 years. The majority of printed material that we provide, the majority of the printed flexible packaging that we provide goes into the food industry in one way or another. There are a number of different segments that we support, which we will touch on, but most of what we do is going into the contract packaging channel for final product filling and delivery and distribution. We are vertically integrated. All of the manufacturing and converting that we do is done in-house. That includes pre-press, pre-flighting of files that customers provide us for their artwork plate making, all of the printing on film, all of the finishing and converting, be it the slitting and rewinding to custom roll size for roll stock, preformed pouches, or interlock, zipper applied roll stock. All of that is done in our facility. We are adding a logistics service to our go-to-market strategy over the course of the next 3 months. And really what we are trying to do from a global scale, if you will, is become more of a supply chain partner to our customers and to the contract packaging industry than just a provider of printed stuff. So much of where we see the market heading is more SKUs, smaller volumes, more direct delivery and frequent orders in smaller lot sizes. That will be supporting new product introduction and new entrants into the various markets that we serve, and we want to make sure that we are extending our services beyond just being able to put printed product on a roller in a pouch and get it to point of pack out. We want to be more of a supply chain partner as we reach farther into the supply chain so that we are decreasing lead times and we are much more time sensitive to the delivery requirements and the production requirements of our channel partners. I mentioned briefly the products that we support. That includes printed preform pouches, printed roll-fed film, interlock, which is roll-fed film with zippers applied, and we do laminated structures with no printing. The markets that we serve are the IQF products, the individually quick frozen products. We do a lot of work in frozen foods that include frozen proteins, chicken breasts, chicken patties, chicken nuggets, frozen meatballs and beef patties. We are also involved in pet food and treats, nutritional supplements, which include powders and granulates, and dry ingredients, pasta, quinoa, soup mix, chili mix, and the like. So the 90% of the business that we support is represented in those various product categories. We are AIB certified. All of the material that we provide is FDA approved for contact with food. And so the food business is a big part of what we do, where we have come from, and where in the direction that we are heading. In terms of the importance of packaging, there are a couple of concepts that I think are worth touching on. First, packaging as a whole, and then really more specifically, flexible packaging. Packaging is designed first and foremost to protect the product that it carries. However, brand identity, promotional opportunity, and informational conveyance is, in some cases, required as well as needed in the customer experience with the product itself. Packaging is the customer's first touch experience with the brand and with the product. So it cannot be underemphasized the importance of packaging and presence to support the product and the brand. There's also, and this is becoming more and more of a topic of conversation in the flexible space, post-sale brand identification, reusable, resealable, flexible material for dry goods and dry ingredients is becoming more and more of a go-to-market strategy for brands that have product with extended shelf life. Traditionally, in the last 5 or 6 years, there has been recognition that for products like pastas and quinoa and soup ingredients, where there is only a single-use application for the flexible package, the package gets torn open, part of the product is used, the remainder gets dumped into a white Glad or a clear Glad bag, resealed and thrown in the cupboard, and there is not a reintroduction to the brand opportunity with a clear bag sitting on the consumer shelf. So resealable flexible packaging, whether it's in a preform pouch form or whether it is produced in roll stock form, is becoming more and more of a marketing opportunity for brands that have resealable and reusable product. Flexible packaging itself is $700 billion worldwide. It is $200 billion in the U.S. in terms of total sales. 75% of that is coming from the food industry, which is by far and away the largest segment, although pharmaceutical is growing at about 25% annually. Food in flexible packaging is growing at about a rate of 5 to 7% annually in terms of consumption and thus revenue growth. Flexible packaging is more in line today with consumers' buying habits and lifestyle habits. It offers more of a convenience to the consumer in terms of the one-handed grab-and-go lifestyle. It can be easily opened and product can be consumed out of a flexible package with one hand, which is a life we all lead, it seems. Flexible packaging also provides more of a graphic engagement with the consumer, more of a visual pop, specifically in big box stores, where there is a 5x5 marketing concept which says that a product on the shelf that is being viewed from 5 feet away has 5 seconds to capture the consumer's interest or to engage the consumer in making a buying decision. Flexible packaging offers a lot more opportunity for graphics, for content, for a promotional and educational opportunity at the point of sale. We are also continuing to see category conversion where traditional products that have been in bottles or rigid packaging are making the move over to flexible packaging. And this includes shampoos, liquids, in some cases, ketchups and mustards and condiments. We are seeing it in pickles and relishes. And so the world seems to be, the consumer brands world continues to migrate to flexible packaging because it gives the brand an opportunity to reinvent the product with a new look and feel, which is really the fundamental basis for the conversion to flexible packaging. So that's just a little bit of background of who we are, what we see in terms of the markets that we support, and the trends that are evolving and will continue to evolve in flexible packaging. Really what I think is important that we want to spend the bulk of our time on today is the material structure and the selection process for packaging to support food product. There are a number of variables that go into the evaluation of what is going to be the proper film structure to support product, not only after it has been filled and is on the store shelf, but also during the manufacturing process or during the filling process, so that there are not only the post-production branding opportunities in terms of the maintaining of product and integrity that are to be considered, but also operational efficiencies and operational improvements that can be gained through proper material selection to support the filling and the filling process. So some of the basic questions that need to be addressed obviously are, what is the product that we're talking about? What is the product that will be filled or needs to be filled? Is it a protein? Is it a granular? Is it dried fruits and nuts? Is it a dry ingredient that will have a longer shelf life? Is it soup mixes? Those types of things. That obviously is, we'll start with that in terms of first and foremost. Weight will also come into play. How much product does the particular pouch need to hold? Is it going to be 3 ounces of material, or in some cases, is it going to be 3 pounds, 3 ounces of product, or 3 ounces of material or 14 ounces of product? So the durability of the package needs to align with the weight of the product. Also, what is the filling process that the product will go through? Is it going to go through a vertical form fill and seal process? Is it going to go through an automated pouch filling process? Is it going to be hand filled? These are considerations that will help determine the required strength as well as the barrier properties of the product, the package itself. And when looking at pre-made pouches, weight needs to be considered, but also what is the distance the product will fall from the filling machine into the pouch itself. I talked a little bit about, or I mentioned, shelf life of product. This can take on a variety of different dynamics and this is specific to after the product is packaged. What is the projected shelf life for the product itself? Is it going to be consumed within three months, 6 months? Is it a dry ingredient where the shelf life could be as great as 3 years? That probably, from a product protection standpoint, is one of the key factors that are taken into consideration for the fundamental use of packaging, which is how long do we need to protect the product? What is the application for the product after it is filled or prior to it? Is it going to be frozen? Is it frozen prior to packaging? Is it going to be frozen after packaging? What is the temperature of the manufacturing facility as the product is going to be introduced into the package. After it has been packed and sealed, then what happens? At any point in time during the distribution and delivery process, what are the ranges of temperatures best guess that the product now packaged will be introduced to? Will it continue to be in a refrigerated truck? Will it be frozen after it has been delivered to the point of sale? The reason being is that not only can temperature affect the product that is contained within the pouch, but product or temperature variations can also impact the integrity of the film structure that is designed to protect and deliver the product. So these are all components that need to be evaluated during the discovery process. As you're starting to look at a new engagement, as you're starting to look at a new product, what are those dynamics in terms of the environment that the material will be subject to from the time that it is being filled into the pouch to the time that it is going to be delivered to the point of sale, and even at the point of sale? Will it be in the refrigerator section? Will it be in the frozen section? How will the product itself be filled? I mentioned the form, fill, and seal process. The more information that we can get about the type of equipment that it will be run on, down to the model or the OEM provider of the equipment, is always helpful, because simply saying that there is a vertical form, fill, and seal application helps define that it's going to be a roll stock solution, but there are other elements about the marriage of the equipment with the film itself that need to be evaluated in order to ensure that the film will be run through the vertical form, fill, and seal machine efficiently. Things like coefficient of friction are variables that need to be taken into consideration. Will the vertical form, fill, and seal machine have friction pull belts that will press against the material and pull the material down through the chute to the filling slot? Or will there be vacuum assist? Will there be a vacuum assist function which will pull the material down through the filling station? And each of those have subtle differences that can impact the operational efficiency of the film through the filling process, that can, if we address it up front, can optimize throughput, can minimize material spoilage, and can minimize product spoilage in terms of the overall manufacturing process. So there are those types of variables that are usually, the more they can be part of the early conversations, the better, because that will allow companies like Eagle to be able to provide material recommendations that are consistent with the nature of the product, the environment that the product will be subjected to before, during, and after the filling process into the pouch. It will also help us determine what the operational model needs to be that the film has to support from a production efficiency and from a throughput standpoint. So all of those speak to the functionality of the film and the alignment of product and process to ensure that at the point of pack out, things are running as smoothly, as efficiently, and are meeting both your requirements as well as the end customer's requirements. In terms of the decision-making process, where we can provide support is to go through that discovery process of product and process and come up with material recommendations that can support all aspects of the product filling. There are, as I mentioned, there are a lot of variables involved in aligning material with product. There are also a lot of variables in terms of aligning material with the filling process, and it really comes down to determining a film structure that will be consistent with both. And what we try to do is engage in that discovery process, come up with a material or several material recommendations that we would then support in a trial environment, so that decisions are being made and there is validation of recommendations of the film itself to make sure that all boxes are being checked in terms of what is anticipated in the film's performance through the entire production process. During the material trials, what we try to do is simulate live manufacturing or live production. That will be it's probably a half a shift commitment on the manufacturing floor. It will be testing the product or the range of products that are under consideration for the flexible packaging application. We want to work with your data points in terms of key performance metrics from a throughput standpoint, from a material spoilage or a yield standpoint, as well as what your anticipated results are or what your benchmarks are for the material yield as well. So that we will provide material that will be able to support what represents and reflects your live production. We recommend that whether it's Eagle or another supplier, that there be technical support from your film supplier on site during the trial process to make sure that what is being recommended and what is being trialed is being compared properly in terms of the performance metrics that are being set, as well as if there are any concerns about performance on the equipment, if there are any concerns about how the film is running through the machine, how the film is receiving the product, how the film is sealing, if there are any other variables that need to be addressed at the time of the trial, that they can be, so that we are providing as much support as possible to ensure that whatever films are being recommended are actually going to provide you with the solution that you need. Generally speaking, trials are 1,800 to 3,000 feet of material, and we try to run live for anywhere from 90 minutes to 3 hours, depending on the number of roles that are being evaluated, depending on the number of products that are being evaluated. All can be determining factors in what type of commitment is required for a trial to be conducted. However, even if it seems routine in terms of it's a product that you may fill every day, if it is a new engagement or you're looking at a new film supplier, it is always good practice to go through the conducting of a trial just to ensure form, fit, and function of the material is going to be consistent not only with product but with your manufacturing process. So there is, I mean, from our standpoint, we are probably conducting 2 or 3 trials a week with a variety of customers, not only existing customers that we have been doing business with for years, but certainly with every new business opportunity, the conducting of material trial on whether it's the vertical form fill and seal machine or preform pouches, or even with hand filling, we want to make sure that the material structure that we do recommend provides optimized throughput and optimized operational efficiency. Clearly, there's a lot of information. There are a lot of points to consider when going through the film evaluation process. There are keys to collaboration among the parties involved that really will ensure success, whether it is a new product introduction, whether it is category conversion from an existing product to a different variety of flexible packaging. And always, as in any new venture, I guess, more information is better. And the more that information can be collected on the front end in terms of the product variables, the environmental variables, manufacturing variables, the sooner and the more efficiently conclusions can be drawn, recommendations can be made, material can be selected, tried, validated, and the process can be accelerated through to get product out to market, which is why we are all in business. So from a collaboration standpoint, sooner is always better, more information is always better, and something that we try to recommend is, even if it is product that will release 6 months from now, the sooner that the material evaluation can be arrived and decisions can be made for planning purposes and certainly for forecasting purposes, the farther, or I should say the quicker that response can happen once product is set to launch. So we do feel that, and we encourage collaboration among all parties concerned so that we are creating the type of packaging solutions that both you and your customers require. I know that we've touched on this just really from a surface standpoint, but I appreciate the opportunity to really walk through what are the variables that are involved in going through a material selection. And from our standpoint, we embrace this type of fact-finding. We embrace this type of engagement with contract packagers and brands alike, and we want to make sure that we are providing support and resources available so that we can all be successful in a rapidly growing market segment. We touched on what are the components that go into material evaluation. We touched on the importance of the trial process. We touched on the form, fit, and function of flexible packaging as it stands now in the direction that it is heading. The common thread among all of this is the collaboration among all of us to ensure everybody's success as flexible packaging will continue to grow in the spaces that we support. And we want to make sure that as we go through that, information is being shared as readily as possible so that we can help keep our customers and channel partners current on new, better, and different. Technology is always changing. Material structures are evolving. There is always talk of where will be the next generation of either biodegradable or compostable material. That continues to be a topic of conversation that at this point doesn't really have an end game. We are seeing more and more inquiries of where and how a backyard compostable material can apply in terms of delivering food product to consumers. And we want to be a vehicle of information and education to the Contract Packaging Association as well as our customers so that we all can continue to evolve as the market does. At that point, I don't really have any more information to share at the moment. If we are happy to take any questions. I believe we had a couple that were brought through that we can certainly address. One of the questions that came through was why do we ask for machine specifications? And I talked a little bit about that in terms of learning or getting a better understanding of the mechanics of, for example, the vertical form, fill, and seal machine. Is it friction pull belts? Is it vacuum assist belts? What is the length of the runway? How much film will be consumed on an hourly rate is helpful. But the machine specifications will help us align material with the filling process to ensure efficiency. We work with many of the OEMs or equipment manufacturers that support the contract packaging world, whether it is flow wrapping, preform pouches, or vertical form, fill, and seal machines. We have very good working relationships with them. The machine specifications are helpful for us to get a better understanding of really how the film is going to react when it is introduced to the machine itself. Sometimes material can stretch. Sometimes material can slip if not spec'd correctly to align with the actual equipment. So that is why we ask for machine specifications. Another question that we were asked is, how long would it take to get a trial roll produced and delivered? Generally speaking, it's about 2 weeks. We will go through the material evaluation. We would provide material data sheets that speak to the actual film specifications, including oxygen moisture transfer barriers and things like that, prior to having a trial roll created. The trial roll itself will be trimmed and aligned with the equipment that it is expected to run on. It will be laminated in the appropriate manner, so it is the exact film that will be, if the trial is accepted, that will be used to support the actual product filling process. 2 weeks is generally the window of time it takes for us to source the material, go through the lamination and printing process if necessary, and get product delivered to conduct the trial itself. Another question that we were asked is, how many contract packagers do we currently support? And I guess the short answer to that is it's hard to say. The majority of work that we produce in one way or another goes to the contract packaging channel for filling. The majority of customers that we work with, the majority of brands that we work with do not have their own manufacturing facilities. And so at the risk of overestimating, I would say that for the work that we produce on a monthly basis, 80% of all printed material that leaves our building is going into the contract packaging channel. If there are no other questions, thank you for everybody's time. We appreciate your participation. We appreciate your interest. And please let us know how we can help you, and we will look forward to seeing you at the CPA meeting in February.